Scarpins Avenue.
Coming to you live from the Ray Horseman Studio in North Hollywood, California, it's Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone, your comedy field guide to life. Tonight, thinking about starting a small business? Perhaps selling a product with a catchy name like Pussy Pillow, and maybe launching some t-shirts with a podcast on the side? How do you make your small business successful? Professor Michael Chasalow, director and founder of the Small Business Clinic at the USC Gould School of Law, is here to steer us into the black. Plus, more of your short descriptions of our show and how to really grow a lemon tree from a single seed. We hope you'll stay tuned to find out how mighty oaks from little acorns grow. I'm Adam Felber, the man who tries to budget our podcast conversations on a coherent topical spreadsheet. And now, please welcome the woman for whom every conversational blueprint is just a scratching pole to be ripped to shreds, Paula Poundstone.
Thank you very much. So nice to be here yet again.
It's nice to have you here, Paula. I fixed up the place for you.
Oh, it's nice.
Thank you. And also a big thank you to tonight's house band guitarist, Kelly Phelan. Is it Phelan?
Nice job, Kelly.
It's Phelan. Kelly, that's great. Welcome aboard. Paula, now, you just traveled through LAX, I'm told.
LAX
the big LA
has
airport.
made some improvements, they say.
They have. I was through there just a couple weeks ago.
After months and months of big boarded-up sections with "Pardon our construction, we're making improvements" signs, Hudson news stores packed with chips, tacky keychains, magazines telling us that Jennifer Aniston has finally found love.
Wow.
Have been replaced by Heart LA stores.
What?
Packed with chips, tacky keychains,
Tacky, it's easy for you to say.
yogurt-covered pretzels, and magazines telling us that Jennifer Aniston dumped that evil bastard and is going it alone. Is that a baby bump?
So wait, I didn't know. The last time I was there was just a couple of weeks ago, and there was Hudson News was still very much in effect.
One of the things that was boarded up for a long time and then they opened, to great oohs and ahs and surprise is, honest to God, a makeup store. Now, I'm there at the airport very early. Makeup store that opens at like 6 a.m.
Okay.
So that everyone who does all their makeup shopping while they're traveling
Sure.
at 6 a.m. I mean, it can't even be cost effective, I would think, and we'll find out from our small businessman. But I don't even see how it's cost effective to have the store open at that.
6 a.m.?
Yeah.
Assumedly, you have one employee there.
Yeah.
Who's not earning a ton. They're probably earning a little over minimum wage, but not a great amount.
Well, I don't know how expensive it could be that one lipstick and they're back in the black.
Yeah.
And the other thing that they changed, and that's happened over time. This
Right.
thing where they've had things boarded up and then they're,
Well,
ooh, look at that. And
Reconstruction is relatable for even our non-LA listeners.
For most recently, what they've done is they change. It used to be that that Wendell picked me up, my assistant picked me up at the curb outside of baggage claim. And now you go to the curb and people can't pick you up at the curb anymore.
What do you do at the curb then?
Well, now they take you on a bus to a soccer field and
Shoot you.
through a megaphone. You call out the names of friends and loved ones that you're looking for.
They give you a megaphone?
Yeah, that's how they do it now.
That doesn't sound like what they do.
I'm sure that it is, because that's what happened to me.
So you were taken to a
You can hear,
soccer
like,
field and given
Wendell.
Wow.
I'm looking for you. It was like that.
Well,
It was
that's a lonely
what was that
pursuit.
Jack Lemmon movie?
The apartment?
Was it Missing?
I don't know.
Not The Apartment. He didn't go to a soccer field in The Apartment.
I don't know.
And
It's been a
call
while
for a
since I've
friend.
seen it.
Oh, you didn't see it?
No, it's been a while since I've seen it.
What?
I've
The Apartment?
Yeah, but I haven't seen the soccer field one.
Okay, but because he wasn't in a soccer field
Yeah.
in The Apartment.
Well, the apartment is too small for one.
Yeah, exactly. It's a strange guess on your part.
I was just trying to think of a Jack
Could it have
Lemmon movie.
been? Yeah. Was it The Odd Couple?
It could have been. It could have been.
No, it
Well,
wasn't.
they go to Central
it was
Park.
called Missing, and I think it was Sissy Spacek and her husband. It's a South American country, I forget where, and the
does Jack
husband
Lemmon
gets
land
abducted.
at an airport and go to a soccer field and get a megaphone?
The husband has been what do you call it? Erased by the government. And,
okay.
So they go to a soccer field where they've taken all these. The government has taken all these prisoners, and they call out.
Okay. Well, this
over
has
a
been a
megaphone.
lovely detour.
Yeah.
It's a good
Well, I
movie.
just can't believe that you would confuse that with The Apartment.
I just said the first movie that came to my mind.
Right.
I wasn't
Okay,
confusing
yeah.
a movie I've never heard of with The Apartment.
I didn't go to college, but I imagine you did fairly well on the SATs. And did you the first thing that came to your mind, you wrote it down? Is that what they say you're supposed to do on the SATs?
No, that's what they say in improv class.
Oh. Yeah, but in improv, you're making shit up as you go along. In this case, we were looking for a specific answer.
I'm going to ask you to let this go. Because
Adam, answer the phone.
I don't want to answer the phone, Paula. No.
Adam, answer the phone.
Do I have to?
Yes, you have to answer the phone.
Hello?
Yeah, hey Adam, it's me, Mike Boom Boom Bonifant. Man, you are right. It was the apartment. There was a soccer field.
No,
scene.
it wasn't the apartment, Mike.
It was the apartment. It was Shirley MacLaine. She was in a soccer field. She was
No,
tied up.
Mike.
And Jack Lemmon had to get her. You're so smart, man. Now you were absolutely right.
Mike.
You say the first thing that comes to your head. That's the best way to do it, man. When you're trying to answer a question,
Jesus
that's
Christ,
the best way
Mike.
to do it. Like
Yeah.
I got pulled over the other day, and I said to the cop, "Hey, what, asshole?" Because it was the first thing that came to my head.
Okay, Mike. Well, it's not always the best thing to do, especially if you're not attempting
it's the best thing to do, Adam.
No.
Say the first thing that come to your head. The guy had me in handcuffs up against a car, and I said I was improvising. Fuck you, I was improvising.
Mike, I think I gotta go.
Yeah, Adam,
Yeah.
don't go yet. I want to know if you want to go check out some chicks tonight.
Chicks?
Yeah, you want to go check out some chicks, because
Mike,
I know.
I've never met you in person or hung out with you. I still don't even understand how you managed to call a podcast that is in point of fact pre-recorded.
No, man, I love you. That's why I call you up. I'm gonna say something.
All right.
I know that's not really a dude thing to say to another dude that you love him, but man, I really do, Adam. I really love you, man.
Wow.
That's why I want to go. I have a watering hole I like to go to, and there are some chicks there, and I'd like to go look at chicks with you. You want to go look at chicks with me, Adam?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, we can talk about the apartment and that scene with Jack Lemmon and Shirley
Mike,
MacLaine.
I really want to hang up. Is there anything that you called to say? Or...
Yeah, that's what I called to say, man. I called to say you were really right about that. And I can't believe she doesn't listen to you. She is such a bitch.
Oh, hey now, Mike. Mike, I've told you many a time, Paula Poundstone is a good friend of mine.
Yeah,
And-
you keep putting that, yeah.
That's
right,
out of
man,
line.
you're
It's
so
out of
cool.
line, mister.
It's really nice of you to put up with her, man, because you were right. Jack Lemmon, Jack Lemmon.
Just goodbye,
You're
Mike.
I gotta go, Adam. I gotta
All right,
go.
good luck
See
with
you
that
tonight.
Trans
We'll go
Am.
look at chicks,
I'm
man.
not going to see you tonight.
Go look at chicks.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, Paula.
Yeah,
that was Mike Boom Boom Bonifant.
Yeah.
Calling our show again.
Yeah, man, he really loves you.
He doesn't do his last name the same way more than once.
That's not true.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's Mike Boom Boom Bonifant.
Bonifant.
Yeah.
That's what you hear all the time?
Yeah.
Because to me it just sounds
Well,
like
I think he might have some sort of impediment.
Yeah, I think so.
Adam, so I was listening to the radio. People still do. I was listening to the radio the other day while I was driving, and there was a piece on there. It was one of those like experiential radio programs where they go out, into the field.
Was it NPR?
It was.
Because
yeah.
usually, I mean, almost every field piece in NPR starts with the clanging of a cowbell and a goat going, eh, eh, eh.
Yeah, it was. It was actually. I didn't hear the beginning of it, so I can't tell
So you
you
missed the
sort of
goat.
what the I didn't hear the go. I can't tell you the purpose of what the whole thing was, but it was a guy that had gone out to visit Dolly Parton. He was visiting Dolly Parton on her land in Tennessee. And before I realized that's what he was doing, this was the first thing that I heard. First thing that I heard was, I'm walking through, the moist leaves, and you could hear like. And then he said, and there's a snake right there. There's a snake. And then he goes, oh my God, there's a bear. And then you hear Dolly Parton go, bears come through here all the time.
Okay.
And then it became clear that he was visiting, then he went on to say that he was visiting Dolly Parton. And I just think, she said, we have lots of bears. They come through here all the time. And I just think, well, that's not safe. Dolly Parton is like a national treasure.
She is.
And we're leaving her out there in Tennessee with a bunch of bears.
Well, we're not leaving her out here. She's chosen to live in Dollywood.
It's going to be...
Dollywood, is there?
What was that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? It
was...
Revelant?
It was Catch Me If You Can.
No, it wasn't Catch Me. The one with
Revenant.
the bears. The Revenant. Yeah, we're going to have working on to Revenant. It's dangerous for Dolly Parton to be out there with bears.
You could call her and ask her to not do that.
I don't have her phone number.
Well, she's a free woman. If she wants to be out there with bears because she's comfortable out there with bears, she can be out there with bears.
I just really worry about, here you come. Ah!
Right.
I just really worry about her.
Presumably, she's been doing this for years. And as
I
long
don't
as
know.
as long as she's in heels, she'll be fine.
I'm not like the NPR guy. I don't follow Dolly Parton everywhere, but it just really makes me uncomfortable to know that she's like, there's bears here all the time. Bears run through
that
here
does
all the
concern
time.
me because she can't do anything out of heels, as far as I've heard.
She doesn't know what to do when a bear attacks
But you heard about the heels thing, right?
No.
Okay, I have a friend who toured with her.
She can't be out of heels. That's absurd.
I had a friend years ago who toured with her, and she explained to my friend that all those years of wearing heels caused her calf tendons to kind of contract, so she can't
and so
stand
now her
without
feet
heels.
are always. She's like Barbie.
She'd be like falling over backwards. Yeah,
but her feet are always
her feet
molded.
are always in pump position.
Oh my God! You know what?
I don't know if that's true, but my friend told me that story.
Is it a friend was he improvising?
He wasn't improvising.
Was he just?
He wasn't improvising.
Was he just thinking of the first thing that came to his head, which is that Dolly Parton has a foot deformity as a result of high heels?
Yes.
I don't think high heels are good for you.
No, you never wear them.
It does. Well, it does. No, I have. I can barely balance in them, but it does make for a slender calf. But
Yeah.
I don't understand why we decided that that's a good idea.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Now, Paula, moving on, unless you have something more you want to say about Dolly other than your worry for her.
I'm just worried. Working on to
Yeah.
I'm worried. It's not right.
Jolene. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm worried.
No.
Yeah.
She wrote Jolene and I Will Always Love You.
Did she, or is that the first thing
she wrote
you
them
thought of?
No, I think it's a factoid that I've heard somewhere. She wrote Jolene and I Will Always Love You on the same day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Boy, I've never had a productive day like that.
Me neither.
You
have a productive cough.
I sift litter boxes 4 times a day when I'm at home, but that's not the same as writing Jolene and I Will Always Love You.
It takes a village.
Yeah. That must have been a day where there were no bears around.
Or she was running from a bear.
And she thought, Jolene?
Yeah.
How does the Jolene song go?
I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Jolene, 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 Jolene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been that hard to write.
Does our house band know how to play Jolene? I do not. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's
but I mean, if the whole song is Jolene, 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 Jolene.
No.
Then she should have fit in a third song that day.
Yeah, no, there's more to it than that. It's a woman done wrong. Now, we like to own up to our mistakes on the show.
Oh, yes.
And we have a special department for that. Oops, we made a terrible mistake.
We made a terrible mistake.
I still think we're challenged in terms of naming departments, but that is a department. And we have an update for that department.
We have?
Yes, we do. We have an oops, we made a terrible mistake.
We have. Yes, we had Jim Hardy on the show. He's the director of park operations at Tree People. And he was concerned that when he was on, we hadn't explained accurately how difficult it is to grow a tree from a seed, specifically a lemon tree. So he sent a better explanation to Bonnie Burns.
Now, I have a problem with that right there.
What's that?
Captain Crinkle, Bonnie Burns, your manager, our producer.
Yeah.
Famously once spent 25 minutes on this podcast trying to explain how she didn't get his song up on iTunes. Like, probably one of the world's worst explainers. So my question
Jim doesn't know that. Jim Hardy, our tree expert Jim Hardy, doesn't know that.
Because he sent this explanation to Bonnie.
Yeah.
And now we're somewhat obligated to do what I always dread doing, which is bringing her up to the mic to succinctly convey Jim Hardy's thoughts.
All right. I think she can do it this time. I really do. Bonnie's going to explain what Jim Hardy emailed her about how to grow a lemon tree from a seed.
Okay. All right. Well, then, with no further ado, I'd like to welcome my friend and my nemesis, Bonnie Burns, Captain Crinkle, to the show. Yes, and she's,
There she is.
welcome, Bonnie. You can put down those chips.
Destroying yet another bag of chips.
Well, Jim only knows me in the manager capacity, and I'm right on target in that job.
Yes, that's
Oh, my
absolutely right.
There's no better.
You're a great manager,
She
Bonnie.
is a great manager.
Now, so what did Jim tell you?
Okay, so this is stop
So you
laughing.
remember Jim was on the show.
Stop laughing.
I was just
You're
looking at you.
laughing
I wasn't
already.
even laughing.
Jim
I
was
just
on the
looked
show,
at you.
and you asked a question about do you have to be an idiot to try to plant a lemon tree?
No, to try and grow a lemon tree from a lemon seed.
Yeah.
Which is the same as planting a lemon seed. But
Not
anyway,
exactly the same.
go ahead.
Okay, so then he sent an email and he said, this is what I was kind of trying to say.
Okay.
And he said, this is what I was trying to get at. Okay.
There's a
Never mind.
hairline difference there, but okay.
We are splitting hairs in a lot of weird
Let's not
ways.
stickle over that.
I wasn't talking about planting a seed. I was talking about growing a tree from a seed that you plant.
Okay, lemon trees produce via seed are not carbon copies of the parent and may take 5 or more years to fruit. With the resulting fruit generally... Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just listening.
We're taking in
listening
the
to you.
information.
Just continue.
All right.
This is defensive, Captain Crinkle.
Why are you looking at me like that? And if I look away from me, why are you ignoring me?
Okay. All right. Of the parent may take 5 or more years to fruit, with the resulting fruit generally inferior to those of the parent. For that matter,
The resulting fruit is inferior to those of the parent?
What was that?
The resulting fruit is inferior to the parent?
Yeah.
Wow, we've had that in our home.
For that matter, your growing lemon tree seeds may never produce fruit, but it is a fun experiment, and the resulting tree will no doubt be a lovely, living citrus specimen.
Wait a minute, I don't understand.
I don't understand either.
So it didn't say that it wouldn't produce fruit at first. It just said I thought it said the fruit would be inferior to the parent.
Inferior, and it takes, what, he said 4 to 6 years or something?
Yeah, he said 4 to 6 years.
Yeah. Can you look back and see when it talks about the parent, the offspring tree being inferior? Does it say that it won't produce fruit? No, it said it would take 4 to 6 years to produce fruit.
And it might not at all.
Well, it said 5
Am I
or
the
more
only one who
years.
listened to this explanation?
4 to 6 years to produce fruit.
If it does.
No, it said...
So
it may
when you
never,
put the
it said
lemon-
it may never produce fruit.
All right, so here's the important
This is not
information.
complicated, yes.
This is what we need to share with our listeners. When you put the seed in the ground, don't bother having a strainer and a pitcher waiting to make the lemonade right beside.
You've got time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could maybe go in and do some chores
Yeah,
before the lemon appears.
So you should never say this. You should never say, oh, I can't plant a lemon tree. I don't have a strainer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what you could do is, if you're going to give birth, for example, you might say, well, we'll have lemonade for, the baby's 5th birthday.
Yes.
And then you put
Or maybe we won't.
or we maybe not. Right.
There might be
Yeah,
no
because
lemons
a
at
quick
all.
yeah.
Now, Bonnie, you once planted a lemon tree. This is why you had this question, right?
Right, because... Right.
Excellent. You can leave it right there.
She doesn't like to just say the first thing that comes into her head.
No.
She likes to think it over.
That is so
No,
not true.
right. My daughter and I, as a bonding activity, decided we would plant seeds and see if we could grow a lemon
You guys
tree.
also, as a bonding activity,
activity?
made those terrible fucking Butterfingers, right? Do you and your daughter ever bond over a successful activity? Has that ever happened?
We bought horses.
Okay.
I understand as a bonding activity. So your kid came to you and said, I just don't feel that connected to you. Could we plant a
I
lemon
think because
seed?
when you didn't have the thing where when your kids were really young in school, you didn't have that, Adam, where they teach them like.
I had the thing
take
where they
a
were young
lemon-
in school.
No, no, you take
I
a
have
lemon.
that right now.
You take a lemon seed and then you fold it up in the wet paper towel.
Well, we did that with a potato, I believe. But the other thing
I
is,
did that with my uncle.
but no one's. Where do you get the idea
It was
that
a
it's
big paper towel.
Where do you get the idea that it's a bonding
I
activity?
just thought because we used lemons. No, we squeezed lemons. We had a lot of seeds, so it was like, hey, why don't we plant this? Then I went on the internet. I found out how you do that. We ordered pots from Amazon. I researched what kind of soil.
So far, I'm
and we
not seeing the
planted
kids'
seeds.
participation at all.
No, we both
sounds like your
had
daughter
pots.
did jack
So
shit.
I brought
So
you.
she kept saying,
Oh, you have a
what-
she kept saying, Mom, I want to sit on your lap. Mom, I want to talk to you. And you said, no, I'm on the internet. I'm looking at pots.
Well, so Bonnie brought a picture of the mother and daughter lemon trees.
Right. So we got that was after.
Just so that our listeners out there know what I'm looking at. And by the way, thanks for bringing a visual aid
Well,
to a
I thought
podcast.
Tony could
Two
post it on-
pictures of pots with dirt.
It's positive, but they both have little saplings coming out, sprouts coming out of them.
This was the ones you guys did?
Yeah.
These are your lemon trees.
Right. So in the beginning, you're very excited because you got the seed, it sprouts. There's big long sprout, and then you
And the
plant it
bonding
in
is
the
taking place. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
and plus
You've
you've
had the
bonded.
bonding.
You've bonded
you
hard.
plant it in the pot, and then you see the little things growing, and
Now,
you're watering.
these pots in the picture look like they're on a table in a small area. With that bonding, were you able to step away from her at all, or did you both keep crashing into each other? I'm trying to look at it. No, I'm trying to look
Yeah,
at
the
it.
pots are really close to
We're
each other.
so bonded.
Yeah,
we
we
can't
were
get
bonded.
apart from each
They
other.
were bonding.
we were taking turns making sure the other
But
one's
in any
pot
case,
was
you
watering.
didn't end up with lemon trees.
No, because then somebody said to me, you know, it's going to take 7 years for that thing to have fruit. Why don't you just go buy a little lemon tree and watch that grow?
Well, what'd you do with these pots?
They're like laying in the back of the yard.
So, like you,
On their
you
side.
you're not still tending them?
No, after a while, like months,
Jesus,
It
don't
just-
get a
You just got
fish.
bored.
it
Bored.
stopped being a bonding activity.
She's like, well, no, I'm not getting good bonding on this. I'm just going to
Yeah.
let the tree die.
Yeah.
You know what the
Did-
bonding activity was?
What?
That we don't follow through on things.
Yeah, that's so.
Like
that
with
was
the
more
chocolate,
of
she
a
walked away.
more of a self-awareness activity.
Perhaps.
was that you don't
That's right.
follow-
Even the chocolate,
follow
even the
through on
Butterfingers you
things.
made, she walked away.
She walked away from the chocolate.
Well,
Yeah.
I,
You know
you know,
what? This
having
kid
tasted
doesn't-
that chocolate, she wasn't wrong.
Yeah. Adam, I have a
Okay.
cute little cat story for you.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Paula, before you go ahead and tell me that cute little cat story, your cute little cat stories are rarely cute.
No, this is a good one.
Okay.
My cat Tonks the other day licked all the fake butter off my raisin toast while I was making my oatmeal.
And?
It's a cute little cat story.
Okay.
Aren't they adorable?
Yeah, that's not that bad. There are worse. There's not a lot of effluvia in that story. Now, Paula, first of all, thank you, Bonnie Burns,
Yes,
for
Bonnie.
stepping up, and you were succinct.
I think many.
Your best audio appearance to date. Absolutely.
I think that a lot of audience members are going to right now put the podcast on pause and run out and plant a lemon seed,
Yeah.
and then over time ignore it
Right.
and go get a lemon tree. And then not plant that and just go get a fucking lemon at the store. And
That's
and
probably
and I
what's
want
gonna
to
happen.
thank you, Bonnie, for making that possible.
Now, Paula, do you have a vocabulary word?
I
for
do
us
have a
this week?
vocabulary word.
Oh, great.
It's magniloquent.
Magniloquent.
Which is an adjective that means lofty, pompous, or high flown in speech or style of expression. Here, I'll use it in a sentence.
I didn't know that word.
I have a friend who can be tediously magniloquent, lest we forget she attended Harvard.
Oh.
Every week, Adam, I try desperately to expand my vocabulary by learning a word.
Right.
They stay in my brain like they were stuck with a glue stick, which is the same as saying they won't stick.
Yeah.
So I've created a vocabulary word song to try to reinforce that word to brain bond.
Right. Now, we have been asking our listeners to please help us out and, if you want, and write a version of the vocabulary song. We've got all the words listed on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons for that is that it turns out as a songwriter, you're not gifted.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I would recommend to audience members that choose to take up the vocabulary word challenge. You don't have to do every single word.
No.
you know.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, just do a handful.
Yeah, because otherwise, the podcast
But
is
make it
only-
catchy.
Oh, make it catchy. That's my middle name.
Uh-oh.
Here's the best I got. This week's word is magniloquent. It's an adjective that means lofty, pompous, or high-flown in speech or style of expression. Last week's word was soporific. It's an adjective that means causing or tending to cause sleep. The week before that, the word was sesquipedalian. It's an adjective meaning measuring a foot and a half. It can also mean having many syllables. very long. Sometimes it's used to mean given to using long words, which is funny because it's a long word. It's esquipedalian to say sesquipedalian. The week before that, we had piquant. It's an adjective that means pleasantly savory, pungent. It can also mean engagingly provocative, also having a lively charm. Adam doesn't think my song is replicable, but I do. Thank you. I was on a roll, man. I was on a roll.
You weren't really on a roll. Here's the thing. Your song is the only
I
replicable.
got blisters on my finger.
That's great. That's a Ringo Starr thing.
Yeah.
He was doing considerably more than strumming a chord
Yeah.
5 times during the course of a
Yeah.
song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I'm saying about the replicable
I
thing.
blister more easily than Ringo Starr. That's just
Yeah.
one of the differences between me and Ringo Starr.
It's probably the only
I
significant
blister
one.
more easily.
The only replicable part of the song is that you do the I do thing at the end, and
I haven't always.
And there's usually
No, I didn't do it last week. The I do.
you didn't.
No.
Oh, no, that's right. You had Mrs. Culpepper here, and she did he does.
Maybe.
But the point of
I
a
just
song,
remember that it was different.
Paula, the point of a song,
Yeah.
particularly one in which you're trying to use it as a mnemonic device, a means
A what?
a means of
Mnemonic device?
yeah.
Isn't that what you dig shit out of the ground with?
You mean like a
Next week's word is mnemonic.
It should be.
It means a large device that digs shit out of the ground.
No, it means a construct that you use to jog your memory.
Adam thinks it means a construct you use to jog your memory, but I don't.
There is no way this song is helping you remember these words.
Well, that's
It's
a
not
new word, Adam.
catchy.
It's not catchy.
It's not a catchy song.
Bullshit. Tony, what were you singing earlier?
The song.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, the part that's catchy, and I've said this week in and week out, and I'm going to say it again. You cadged the melody from the Lullaby of Broadway for the first
I didn't.
phrase.
I've never seen the Lullaby of Broadway.
It doesn't matter. You heard it in a store somewhere
I
when you were
didn't
trying
hear
to.
it in a store.
That's what that
Where
is.
is there a Lullaby of Broadway store? That's ridiculous.
Stores don't have to be themed for the song they're
that's
playing,
absurd.
Paula Poundstone.
Adam, answer the phone.
I don't want to.
Adam, answer the phone.
I don't want to answer the phone.
answer the
it's
phone.
never good news for
It
me when the
is.
phone
It
gets
is.
picked
You're gonna
up.
like this. You're gonna like this.
How would you know?
Go ahead. Answer the phone.
Hello?
Adam, hi, it's me, Winnie Feynman.
Oh, hi, Winnie.
I am so happy that I got through to you on the phone line.
I don't know
love
how
you
you did.
so much.
Thank you, Winnie.
If you weren't on every show, I don't know what I'd do. I mean, I think about you all the time. And if you weren't on every show, thinking about you not being there, I have a pulmonary reaction.
A pulmonary reaction?
I can't.
Winnie, just try to breathe.
Adam,
Winnie.
Adam, are you there?
Winnie,
Are you there?
I'm here, Winnie.
Adam, I
Winnie,
can't.
breathe, Winnie.
If I could just have a lock of your hair, Adam. If I could just have a lock of your hair.
I have two problems with that,
I think
Winnie.
I could breathe much better. And I've made a Dachshund calendar that I really want you to have.
I don't. Okay, let's unpack this. Number one, I don't want a Dachshund calendar. Number two,
What do you mean you don't want a Dachshund calendar? I made it for you, Adam. I made it for you.
what do you mean you made it for me? Winnie, calm down, calm
made
down.
you.
Winnie,
Yeah.
calm down, breathe deeply. I don't have hair, so I can't send you a lock of it.
Oh, Jesus, you sent it to someone else.
No. Male pattern baldness. It comes to some of us.
Adam,
Winnie,
well, I gotta go now because I'm gonna send you this Dachshund calendar.
you really don't have to, Winnie.
I really want to. I made it for you. It's really important to me.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling in, and
All right.
please try to take care of yourself, Winnie.
Yeah. Do you have arm hair?
Do I what?
Have arm hair.
God damn it, Winnie. Yes, I have arm hair. And no, I'm not sending you my arm hair.
You could send me a lock.
I'm not
going to
send you my arm hair, Winnie. Oh, see, now I'm yelling at you.
Well, I
This has
just want
nothing
to
to do
give
with you.
you something anyways. I just want to give you a Dachshund calendar, and every day I want you to write on it that you're on the podcast. Okay. See you, Adam.
Bye, Winnie.
Bye.
Well, that
I
wasn't
told
fun for
you
me.
you'd like it.
I didn't like it
I
at all,
told you.
Paul. I didn't like that at all.
I told you. Oh my God,
I'm
she
getting-
loves you, Adam.
Yeah, I know, but it's in a really creepy way, and
It's
I
not
don't-
creepy. That's love.
That's not love.
It's not. It's not creepy at all.
Okay, well, coming up, George Bernard Shaw said, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man." Is Paula unreasonable in starting her own small business? Well, Professor Michael Chasalow will advise her and all of us on how to achieve progress in the world and grow your business. That's when we return on Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone. Ah, that's a relaxing way to get back into the show. Paula! You're still humming Lullaby Broadway.
No. Those are vocabulary songs. Just stuck in my head. Sorry.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Then why don't you sing it from memory?
I can't do it from memory, Adam. That's the problem I have.
That's the point of a song like that, is that you remember it so it teaches you the words.
Yep, I forget.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We are totally back in gear. Now, Paula, you are an industry unto yourself.
Oh, my gosh. It's huge.
Paula Poundstone, Poundstone
when
Industries.
Trump gave those corporate, those high-end tax cuts,
Yeah.
who did it benefit but me?
Did it?
No, I'm kidding. I put the small in small business.
You have a multi-pronged business approach. I mean, you have this podcast.
Yeah. And boy, whew.
Yeah, you have your stand-up comedy performance thing and your public appearances, like your Wait, Don't Tell Me stuff.
Right.
You've got your the Poundstone Pussy Pillows, which is your newest product.
Poundstone Pussy Pillows that are flying off the merchandise table
And
at the end of my shows.
And they are selling pretty well at your shows, right?
Well, good for me.
Yeah,
You
okay.
know, by my standard, they're
To
selling
remind
well.
our listeners, Paula was sent a gift of 35 pounds of catnip by the executive producer of Wait, Don't Tell Me, Mr. Doug Berman. And, life gave you lemons and you made cat pussy pillows.
Well, because we had put them, I had taken a pound of it and put it in the cabinet, and then there were 34 individually bagged pounds of catnip, and I double bagged it in trash bags and put it in the storage unit.
Okay.
I haven't been back to the storage unit since, but Wendell, my assistant, told me that when he went, there were cats hanging around the outside of the building.
Right.
And that when he went inside, it smelled so much like catnip, like the whole building.
So you were like, I've got to do something to get rid of that catnip.
Exactly.
And
because
that's when you
they're
hit
gonna
upon the
throw us
idea,
out.
like, I'm going to make cat toys that are going to have a...
That's exactly correct.
you know,
So they are little, pillows.
Poundstone's Pussy Pillows. With
Filled
my name.
with Adam created the name. And
Not proud of it.
I'm not paying you shit for that.
Okay.
And
I don't deserve
it. And the catnip is inside the little pillow, of course. And then there's a grommet, ladies and gentlemen. What sets my cat toys apart from others? There's a grommet, so you can tie a string to it and pull it for the cat. And on one side there's a cat choke, and on the other side, I'm happy to autograph it to your cat.
Nice. I think somebody could come and take the pussy pillow business out from under you just by attaching a string to the grommet included, rather than
I
making.
don't think anybody's clever enough to do that. Do
All
you?
right. In any case, you also sell T-shirts.
I sell remarkably soft tri-polyblend T-shirts with
Okay.
a self-portrait on the left breast and a memorable quote on the back. And then I have some performance CDs, and I have a couple of books, and I have my book and the audio versions of my books, which has been so helpful having those audio versions, because what I had been doing before I recorded the books was riding around in people's cars reading aloud to them, and this
That is time-consuming.
logistically.
Deeply inefficient.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
we're going to get to some efficiencies and other ways to help enhance your business. To summarize, what if someone like Paula had a great idea for a podcast or merchandising cat toys, T-shirts, or even a litter box? What steps do they take to become a successful small business? We have someone here who can answer these questions. Michael Chasalow created the Small Business Clinic at the USC Gould School of Law and has directed it since its inception in 2007. He brings more than 30 years of experience in working directly with startup companies and guiding entrepreneurs through the development and financing of early-stage businesses. He earned his J.D. from the University of California, Berkeley, and an MBA from UCLA. Please welcome our guest, Professor Michael Chasalow.
Hey, Michael.
Michael, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's
nice
dive.
to be here.
It's great to have you. Let's dive right in. What does Paula need to do to make her business more of a success? Because, Paula, is all this stuff earning you the income that you'd like?
No.
Okay.
No, the question I really have is how long should you run your business at a loss before you throw in the towel?
I guess part of that is how much are you willing to lose? Every business is different because
Some of them do make money, right?
I've heard.
Yeah, boy, that would be cool.
But sometimes it takes a while. Like in what you're talking about, it feels to me like there's a critical mass where you have kind of a built-in publicity model through the podcast and the other things you do that then can promote merchandise.
Now, when you say the built-in publicity of the podcast, how many are we actually getting in Moldova now?
Moldova, it turns out we don't have a lot of downloads.
Which was how many?
We got between 1 and 3 in the last 3 months.
Moldova.
Yeah.
It's the country of Moldova.
So I'd say
Just
that,
so you know.
your target audience is not in Moldova.
Yeah.
It's probably too expensive to ship there anyway.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good point.
You'd be
Wendell
losing
won't
money on
do
those
it. Wendell
pussy
says
pillows.
no to anything out of the country.
Okay, but we do have fans here in the United States of America.
So if the question is how long should this keep up? In a way, that question is from the middle. My question would be, well, is there a plan? Is the plan to create some publicity through your name recognition and through people knowing you, and then connect that to products that will also sell? If that's true, then you have to think, well, how much are you making on each product? If you aren't losing money, then you can keep doing it for longer, right? So on each item you sell, are you making money? Are you breaking even? Are you losing money? Is one question. If you're roughly breaking even, then you can keep it going for a while. If the problem is you've got a whole bunch of stuff sitting around that you can't get rid of, then
Like 34 pounds of catnip.
like 34 pounds of catnip. But
No, the
apparently
catnip's-
that came free, right?
The catnip came free. It's clipping along. I wouldn't say at a fast pace, but it's clipping along. Now, I always heard that with restaurants, and I don't know if this has changed over time, but that you had to be prepared to lose money for a year, like not be in profit for a year in order to open a restaurant. Is that true?
I always heard 6 months, but the idea is the same, that you have to lose money for a while. I think what you said is exactly true, but that doesn't mean that is always the case. So these days you see a lot of people who will open a restaurant, and because the world of food has changed, like we know a chef's name, and you hear about a famous chef who opens a restaurant, or there's some buzz about a person, they have immediate demand. So my feeling in the restaurant business is it's not that you have to be prepared to lose money for a long period of time. It's that some people lose money initially, but some people have a big pop at the beginning.
Right.
And then they have to figure out how to sustain that in a way that keeps them going.
And the pop comes from some kind of notoriety leading up to it.
Right. The problem is the people who come because it's famous, they go away. So you need people who are going to continue to frequent the restaurant. With selling your items, for example, I don't know if that's true. You want to think, are they the kind of things that I'm going to sell 1 or 2 to some people? Are you looking for repeat customers? It feels to me like what you want is many, many, many people to buy Paula Poundstone things, not 10 people to keep buying them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, this word, you used a word earlier that frightened me, which is plan.
Sorry.
How,
Yeah, because what is your business plan at the moment, Paula?
do you have a blank piece of paper? I could show it to you.
Would it be that blank piece of paper?
It would be the blank piece of paper.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have a plan. I mean, so, I don't know. Years ago, my manager said, "Why don't we make some CDs? People make CDs, don't they?" And so we did that, and then we sold those. And then
People make CDs, don't they?
She said that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
She's silently protesting in the background, but I'm going to enjoy ignoring that.
She's very innovative.
Yeah.
And then somebody came to me and said, do you want to write a book? And I actually said no. And then I did it anyways. And then I said, people make T-shirts, don't they? So things sort of slowly. There was no like...
And then at one point somebody said, let's make a website and sell all those things in the same place.
Somebody did say that, yeah. So we do sell it through our website. But...
and that's pretty much the whole business plan we're hearing right here.
Yeah, it was sort of a slow, this thing, that thing. I never started out with like a mission
We could
statement.
make one.
That's a good idea.
Right now?
Well, I mean, we
Seems
can
weird
talk
to
about
make
it,
a plan after it already happened.
Not really, because we're just fixing it. I don't care if you make money on every single thing you do.
You don't care. I care.
Fair enough.
But when he leaves this studio, you're out of his life.
Yeah.
I
Fuck
want
you.
you to-
Making money on these things is of great interest to me.
I
don't
want
want
you
to
to-
sound like Mr. Drysdale here. I don't want to sound like all I care about is money, because it's not all I care about at all, which is probably part of the reason I'm such a shitty businesswoman.
Well, I think what Michael was in the process of saying is...
Before I cut him off?
Yeah. Was that he doesn't care if you make money on every single thing that you do because all these things kind of can produce a sort of a synergy. Am I correct?
Well put.
Okay.
Well,
He's available for birthday parties, by the way.
The idea is that you want to make money on some of the things, but other things can be what we call loss leaders. So, for example...
Lost leaders?
Loss,
Or Lost
LOSS.
leaders?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So, for example, if you weren't making
Sounds like
a ton
seminar
of money...
that I would lead.
No.
Lost leaders.
Welcome, Lost Leaders of America.
Yeah.
You could put it in your vocabulary song.
I might. This week's word is lost leaders. Okay, so what does that mean, lost leaders?
So
Sorry.
the idea is it's that there are certain products that you may not make as much money from, but it drives customers to other things that do make you money.
It enhances the brand.
I see what you're
It
saying.
enhances the brand.
Enhances the brand.
Yeah, it enhances the brand.
So if the T-shirts, for example, had the time and place of the podcast, that would be a way of marketing, the podcast itself.
Huh, we haven't done that.
Or if
I didn't think of anything that clever at
I hope
all.
you got take out your pen, Paula. You're
Yeah.
going to need these.
Or if you gave people things to do with the cat toys, or if you, if there was something where you could use one product with another.
Oh, my God, that's brilliant. If I were to include a string,
Right.
and on the string, it said nobody listens to Paula Poundstone.
How can it say that on a string?
Well, it would be like a shoestring.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's an idea. You sell the pussy pillows, and then you sell the pussy pillow XL Deluxe Edition, which has a string tied to the grommet. You charge $10 more for it. The
then
deluxe pussy pillow.
But then people are going to compare it. Then people are going to go, wait a minute. It was $15 for the pussy pillow, another $10 for the string? That's not going to go over well
we'll
with
see.
people.
People will pay for luxury. They really will.
Yeah. We interrupted. Okay, so that's a great idea about having one thing. So give me another example of that.
Well, so what you want to do in our plan is we want to figure out what of the activities brings the most money and would bring in more money with growth.
Aha. So what brings in the most money, Paula? I'm guessing it's your shows.
Yeah, no question.
So we want to grow your shows.
We do.
Okay.
So the products then don't necessarily have to make so much money if they bring more people to the shows.
We do promote the shows on the podcast. And the podcast, as Captain Crickle, my manager, points out, the podcast obviously, well, not obviously, I guess, but it does, in fact, get listened to by more people than would attend a regular show.
Which is why we use it as a promotional vehicle to drive people to your shows. There's a bigger
Well, not
pool.
literally drive people to the shows.
You're willing
I
to
don't
drive
want people to think there's a service where we pick you up and take you to my shows. That's
There
not
isn't?
the case. No, and I
Should
don't.
there be?
And I don't recommend Uber
Michael,
either.
should there be?
I think people can get to the shows unless you want to give away an Uber ride with a pillow.
Uber makes me very nervous.
Lyft.
Lyft makes me very nervous. Okay, so yes, it's true that we do say on the podcast that I'm going to be performing at the blah blah blah.
And are the shows full?
You know what's funny about that? Yes, if it's a small theater. You know what's funny about that is that my manager will call me up in a panic and say, "Well, I don't understand why, the blah 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 isn't full, whereas the last 3 places were full." And then I have to say, "Well, how many people does the one that's not full seat?" And she'll say, "Well, 2,000." And how many did the other seat? "Well, 500." Okay. Well, I think I see what's wrong. Because they're not all the same size.
Right. Okay. Well,
So I don't sell out every time. I sell out a lot of shows, but
which is great.
let me just say this. Okay, on a more positive note, I pack the front row.
That's great.
I was just thinking if it's already overflowing, then we don't need to get more people there. We need a bigger venue to perform. But you could have incentives for someone to bring someone else to a show, for example.
Incentives for someone to bring someone else?
Sure, bring a
like
friend,
I could
get
say
a
we
t-shirt.
provide oxygen at the show, and then people that are on oxygen.
Yeah. Would be like, oh, I need oxygen. I'll go see Paula Poundstone.
They would come. They would.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like.
I
I think the idea that Michael just floated is bring a friend, get a T-shirt is it's a possible.
Exactly. Or some other.
bring a friend, get a T-shirt.
Yeah.
It just sounds like so many T-shirts. Like Bonnie is always after me to do like twofers and stuff like that. But it just worries me that I'm going to lose more money than I'm going to make.
How much money are you making on the T-shirts? Wouldn't that be a question that you might ask, Michael?
I would want to know how much money.
Go ahead,
made
ask
on
her.
how much money are you making on the T-shirts?
Would you be concerned if you were dealing with, well, let's face it, a CEO who had no idea?
Well, I would. Here's the thing. We can also flip it around and make money on the T-shirts. You don't have to give away the T-shirts. You can increase the price of the T-shirts and
Give away tickets to the shows.
give away something else. That.
What do you mean? Give me an example.
Well, you should generally sell merchandise for 4 times your cost. That's kind of the formula of how much.
Really?
Yes.
Sell merchandise for 4 times your cost?
Usually that's kind of the retail formula because you're going to want to double what you made it for, and who's ever selling it in a store is going to want to make a profit. So just back of the envelope calculations is something should be sold for 4 times what it costs you at a minimum. You might want to have, is it just one kind of T-shirt?
No, in fact, I'm so glad you asked. There's 2 styles. There's the standard, and then there's the baseball style with the dark sleeves and the light, the heather gray. And it's all made from a remarkably soft tri-poly blend.
We should clarify for Michael, there's no such thing as a tri-poly blend.
That's not true.
I'm just going to let that one go.
Yeah, you should. I'm trying to learn to let that one go. But
I understand.
If you ever want to get into divorce law, you can use this as some sort of training session.
Again, just gonna let that one.
keep
I'm
rolling
good
forward.
with the business stuff.
Okay, well let's stick with the business stuff. How about if you don't have any idea in the world how much your product costs to make?
I think
Like
you'd
say-
have to find out.
Then
Like
you need
say a
to-
pussy pillow.
Then you need to find out, unless you're selling it for so much money
That doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter if you don't know how much it costs to make, but it costs somewhere between $1 and $2 and you're selling it for 20, then I don't need you to know the exact number.
Okay, here's why we don't know, because A, she got the catnip for free. God knows what that costs. B, the materials are relatively inexpensive, but the pussy pillows are being made in a sweatshop that Paula has set up inside her own house, and the only employee of this sweatshop is her assistant Wendell.
Okay, Wendell, who's a very engineering-minded man, Wendell is making a system to create the pussy pillows, and so we won't really know how fast he can do it. So if people are interested in the pussy pillows, you should probably get them at the shows sooner than later, because later we will actually know how much the things cost and might well have to increase the price. But right now we're trying to get our time down for making it, because I pay Wendell.
That's good.
Yeah.
Why don't you think of it like a market test? If we're still in testing, maybe we don't need to know how much it costs, because inevitably the cost will go down if they're mass produced or if there's a bigger demand, if it's not just
Wendell can only work so
When you
fast.
say mass produced, does that mean I use both my son's bedroom and my daughter's bedroom?
that would be a step toward mass production.
Yeah.
Maybe Wendell has friends.
Yeah. Oh, that would be good. We can employ Wendell's friends. Wendell!
Let's move on.
Assemble the workers! What mostly causes businesses to fail?
How long do you have?
So a lot of things?
I think a lot of things cause businesses to fail, and I think you want to think about them in a few different categories. Some businesses are going to fail just because they're not good businesses or because they're not right.
Boy, I dodged that bullet.
I mean, you could do everything right and still not have a successful business.
Right.
A really good example of this is the person who invented the fax machine did not make money from the fax machine. Fax machines have existed for like 100 years.
No!
But it turns out you need a lot of them for people to use them.
Oh, right, of course.
You can't just have one fax machine or one person with a fax machine.
Who would you send it to?
And by the way, it's a fantastic. Well, it isn't anymore because now we email documents.
No! I still fax!
But
I love
it's
my
a
fax
fantastic idea. But you need a lot of fax machines, or it doesn't matter how good your idea is. You don't make money. Other people, they kind of fall in love with an idea that's not very good. I don't know. Think of, a garlic chicken toothpaste or something.
That's a terrible idea.
Kind of wacky that isn't going to sell, but they like it.
Yeah.
So there are the categories of businesses that are either not a great product or wrong time, a timing type of an issue. But then there are businesses that might succeed and don't because they're not being driven in the right way. That many investors, if you talk to kind of a professional investor, they will often tell you that their first criteria is management. It's the people. You know how you say, like, in real estate, it's location, location, location?
Yeah. Right.
In the investor world, it's really the people. Who's running the business? And the reason that's true is because it isn't always having a brilliant idea. It's more about what you do with a pretty good idea. And so getting back to what might make businesses fail, it's often that people may have a good enough idea, but they aren't sure what to do with it. Some people are too tentative. They don't really commit to the idea. They might say, well, I don't really want to leave my job. I don't really want to suffer any negative consequences, so I'm just going to do it a little bit, but it's not the kind of business that needs a little bit. You need to commit to making it work. Some people don't listen to feedback. Some people, don't plan. They don't,
What kind of an asshole wouldn't plan?
I don't know. Just somebody who is clueless about running their business.
I can't even picture that.
Businesses are really like puzzle pieces. You're really trying to say, I have something, it could be a product or a service.
Sure.
And I want someone to pay me money for this thing. And then the question is, how do you get your service or your product to other people?
Yeah.
And then there's lots of
I carry
different
it.
ways.
She literally carries product.
That's one way to do it.
I'm my own Sherpa.
But you want to think about how you're going to market it, how you're going to distribute it. Where are people going to get it?
Now, Paula, you have a wine story.
I do. I was at a restaurant the other night with a friend, and he got up and he ordered a wine. It was a $60 wine, a bottle of wine. It was a $60 bottle of wine, and then it was a restaurant/market, and so they said have these beautifully displayed wines all over. So he gets up and he's looking in the wine cabinet. He sees the exact same bottle of wine was $30. Is that possible that they charged an extra $30 for a guy to take the cork out and pour it?
It is. I don't think it's great business. I mean, we've all had the experience of going to a restaurant and saying, hey, I could buy this in the market for much less than they're charging me for.
But to have the market in the restaurant is a little weird.
You usually don't have to walk 3 steps to get it.
So if I were to sell my remarkably soft tripod blend T-shirts with the self-portrait on the left breast and the memorable quote on the back, and I were to put it on the person, could I double the price?
I mean, in theory, you could.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, especially if you autographed it personally, maybe.
Well, I do autograph the shirts for people, but I don't charge for that.
I wonder if
That's
you should
just
make them
silly.
cheaper at the shows. In other words, if you buy it online, it's a certain price, but if you come to the show, it's cheaper and it's autographed.
Fuck you.
Wait. Now, don't tell our guests to fuck
Is
you.
that me? I just came to the show. I just wanted to help.
Everybody just keeps dropping the price of everything. I hauled it all the way to the goddamn theater. I signed it for the person.
Yeah. Now, how useful is social media in marketing businesses like Paula's?
Well, social media is really tricky, and I don't know that you will find a huge number of people who will sell you their services saying that they know social media and therefore you should pay them to help you with social media.
Right.
We've met them.
Yes,
We've hired
there's
them.
a lot.
I
I've started
have hired
businesses
them.
for many of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know that means that everybody's right, because also social media it's a very broad topic.
Yeah.
I think that there clearly is
Do
a lot
you
of
think that I should do porn?
no.
Because that's very popular.
Right, but it's a little off-brand for you.
Is it?
It's a lot off-brand for you.
But I know that gets downloaded
I think we're trying to
a
get
lot.
people to put T-shirts on.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Okay, all right.
I think the social media thing's kind of interesting. I mean, one use of social media isn't just asking people things. It might be getting people to do things. Maybe people could sell T-shirts, or they could give you ideas. It's not as though in the business world, ideas come from a lot of different places. So, you could have a contest of tell us, the best idea for all of Paula's businesses, and then have somebody on the show.
Now, a while ago you mentioned a business plan. How do you go about that? I mean, what constitutes a business plan?
Well, first of all, you can have a very long one or a short one.
Let's start with the short one.
And you can find kind of blueprints for them on the internet or in books, but
Michael, you're right in front of me.
all right, how do we create a business plan?
Thank you. I can't believe I
you
had to
have
ask
to-
twice.
Drag it out.
You have to basically write down the ideas for how your business will succeed. That's in a nutshell what a business plan is. And the reason why it's important to do it is because in the writing of it, it exposes weaknesses in the business that you can then address. Sometimes we gloss over problems. We'll say, I'll make stuff, I'll sell stuff. That's how my business will succeed. But if you're having to actually connect the dots in a plan, for example, I'm going to make T-shirts, and then we're going to say, it will cost this. They will be sold in these places in this way. This is what the profit will be. This is what the costs will be. That's kind of the very basic elements of a business plan. It's the who, what, where, when, why, and how of the business. But I actually think some people will have other people do it, but I think doing it yourself forces you to face some of the realities in putting together a business. Because it also, if you're honest when doing it, sometimes you bump into things that make you think, oh, this isn't going to work. And you have to listen to that as well.
So, like I might say, I will take people around the world in luxury comfort on the ocean. And then I would realize, I don't have a cruise ship.
Well, I think you would...
That's the kind of thing that would happen if you wrote a business plan that had that as one of its...
I think you would realize I can't charge people enough to do that because you can always rent a cruise ship. If you just need to charge people,
There are a lot of holes in my
amount-
plan.
a huge amount of money.
I would abandon the cruise ship aspect of your plan.
Yeah.
I'd stick
it's
closer to
falling
T-shirts.
apart right here in this little round table.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You wrote a business plan, and now you know not to spend all that money on the cruise ship.
I was only thinking of starting a cruise ship company because Doug Berman gave me as a thank you gift 1,000 life preservers.
Yeah, but you see, life preservers are cheap compared to an actual cruise ship.
Yeah, that's the thing about Doug.
Yeah, she should have looked into that. Well, thank you, Michael Chasalow, for this profitable discussion. Paula, now that you have all this newfound business knowledge,
I got all I need.
what advice can you give our listeners about starting a small business?
Kelly Phelan House Band, will you give me a little background music for my summary of what I've learned from our small business expert? You are supposed to make money in a small business. You're supposed to have a plan. You're supposed to know how much you make on each item. That seems crazy to me. It ruins the surprise. You can grow your customers for one product with another. For example, I could give away a t-shirt with every ticket purchase, or a free Poundstone pussy pillow to every podcast listener who turns their friends and family onto the podcast. I could personally drive a ticket buyer to the theater to see my show while we listen to a free Paula Poundstone CD. I could dress and feed the elderly parent of anyone who purchases the audio version of my book. There's nothing in this book that I meant to say. I could deliver the baby of anyone who downloads my new rap song, Not My Butterfinger. I'm gonna be rich!
Michael Chasalow created the Small Business Clinic at the USC Gould School of Law and has directed it since its inception in 2007. Michael, thank you so much for being on our show.
That was fantastic. Thank you.
Coming up, this podcast is now number 119 in Canada. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. That's coming up right after this. The cat of the week is Bear from Califon, New Jersey. According to climate scientists, we have 9 years and 51 weeks until the Earth begins to become uninhabitable. Yeah! Thanks for the tasty licks, Kelly Phelan. We're back. Paula, we like to keep track of our international audience. You know that
We
about
are
us.
sweeping the globe.
We are-
It's
we are-
one thing to sweep the nation. We are sweeping the globe.
No, we bestride the globe like a colossus.
After we took over Moldova, we began to
Which we
seep
didn't.
into the culture of other countries.
We have, yeah. It turned out we were wrong about Moldova.
What do you mean we were wrong?
Well, as we've said before, it turns out that being the 34th ranked podcast in Moldova,
34th ranked podcast in Moldova.
or whatever-
That's fantastic.
whatever we were, was because we'd had like 4 or 5 downloads.
We are sweeping most of the globe.
We are, so but yeah, there are countries where we do perform pretty well, and one of them, we're up there with a bullet this week. Tony Anita Hull, she's our resident globalologist.
Yeah.
And Tony,
She knows so much. It's like opening an atlas. She knows about everywhere.
She is Rand McNally.
Tony Anita Hull knows so much about so many places, Adam Velma.
Oh, look at that. It's our favorite denuded hand puppet, the widow of Mrs. Culpepper. Now,
It's so nice to see you again, Tony. I think of you as my daughter, and now I think of you as Adam Velma.
that's great, Mrs. Culpepper. You don't have any children of your own, do you?
I do not. Thank you for asking.
You and the captain, did you try to reproduce? Or no?
I'm not going to speak to you of carnal relations between the captain and I.
I wasn't
Adam
asking about
Velma.
your carnal
That
relations.
is a little intrusive.
my.
Where I come from, people don't ask questions of that nature. Adam Velma.
I wasn't asking about your carnal relations, Mrs. Culpepper.
It certainly sounds as if you did, Adam. You know that's how babies are made.
I do know that, but I wasn't asking about the making
I'm not
process.
certain how you made your babies.
I know exactly how I made my babies, but
Paper mache.
Wow. You are salty tonight, Mrs. Culpepper. Did you have a fight with the captain?
I did not have a fight with the captain. I am unable to fight with the captain.
Why? Do you just love him too darn much?
I do love the captain. I love the memory of the captain, Adam Velma, because the captain has passed.
Oh, no. I've brought up that painful memory again. I do apologize.
Yes, you have. In fact, brought up yet another painful memory.
Well, yeah.
It's only the balm of Tony Anita Hull that makes it possible to be in this room right now.
the balm.
The balm of Tony Anita Hull,
Well,
as opposed to the stinging rebuke
the stinging
of
nettles.
Adam
Yes.
Velma.
Yes.
The painful memories that you drudge up from my past.
Which memory in specific did I dredge up?
The passing of Captain Culpepper.
Oh, he did die.
You forgot.
Yes. No, I have forgotten now.
Yes, he
did.
died. Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead, lay it out there.
No, I don't want to lay it out there. I'm sure that at least it was probably a very peaceful death, and we can all move
It
on.
was not a peaceful death at all.
Oh, you were agitated tonight.
He
Mrs.
died
Culpepper.
of tyrotoxism, Madam
Oh, is
Feather,
that poisoning
which
by
is-
cheese or dairy products?
That is correct. It is the poisoning by cheese or dairy products. That is correct. And it was a cheese. It was, in fact, a cheese.
We'll never know what kind it was.
It was the Gouda that got him, Madam Feather.
Thank you, Mrs. Culpepper. Let's turn our attention back to Tony Anita Hall, the balm of this podcast.
Yes,
you.
Tony, do go on.
Now, welcome, balm. Now, what's going on?
So Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone is number 119 in Canada.
Yes!
Whoa.
That's
Whoa!
16,750 downloads over the last 3 months.
16,000.
Yeah.
It's actually a sizable number.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
They've been depressed for the last 3 months, so they've really needed.
They've needed us.
Nobody listens to Paula Poundstone
I can
because
see
it's
that.
an uplifting podcast.
Absolutely.
That is so nice.
Now, is that
to
116
hear.
out of all podcasts? It's not just the comedy
That's
genre.
just comedy
Oh, okay.
genre.
Fuck Canada.
Sorry.
Wow, Canada can bite me. Jesus. All right. Well, our love affair with Canada
I
was
guess they
so.
don't need. I guess they don't need to listen to. Nobody listens to.
Not
Paula
when they've got
Poundstone
Joe Rogan to
in Canada.
tune
Oh
into.
my
No,
God.
that's number one. We don't know that.
Yeah.
You don't know that?
No.
We
Took
could.
they took a break from hockey, though. I think that's good to
All right.
listen to.
Yes,
Nobody
yes.
listens to Paula
Well,
Poundstone.
despite the fact that they're dead to us, let's salute Canada.
I love Canada.
I do too. Now, my Canadian friends tell me that one reason we might be popular there is because Hulu is not available in Canada.
Oh, there you go. See?
It's ridiculous.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, why would that make us popular there?
Because
Are you assuming that anybody who likes Hulu doesn't listen to us?
No, I think what my Canadian friends tell me is
Your
that
Canadian friends have a very strange path of logic.
Are these
Hulu
real
is a time suck. It's something, and if you don't have Hulu,
What is Hulu?
it's like Netflix.
Oh, I don't have either one.
It's a video streaming service. That's why you have time to do this podcast.
I got plenty of time to do this
But
podcast.
in any case, let's again return to our salute to Canada. All right, that's enough.
You know what's weird?
We're not-
It's that the Canadians, of
Yeah.
course, speak English, as we do, and yet I still couldn't understand that song.
It's a national anthem. You're not.
I get as far as "Oh Canada,"
Yeah, I get that.
which
one.
has always seemed to me like kind of a unenthusiastic anthem. Oh, Canada.
yeah.
Just,
It's almost like, by the way, Canada.
Yeah. yeah, you know what I was thinking about the other day?
Yeah.
Canada.
Pardon me, Canada.
It's somewhere in the back of my mind. Canada.
Oh, Canada. Yeah.
Canada.
Now I see
Yeah.
where we're living.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. Tony, why don't you tell us some stuff about Canada?
Yeah, we don't know enough. No one really knows a lot about
No.
Canada, I don't think.
No, Canada is huge.
It's very big.
I
It's
didn't realize
the
that.
largest country in the Western Hemisphere. It's 3.855 million square miles. And the only other country that's larger than Canada is Russia.
I didn't realize that.
Second largest country in the world by landmass?
Yes.
You know what's weird? Maybe it's Canada that Sarah Palin was seeing out of her window.
Well, that's
And she mistook it because they're both big.
That's very
Yeah,
possible.
I think so. Because I don't think she was seeing Russia.
Russia.
No, in fact, if you look at Wasilla, which is on a map, it's not close to Canada or Russia.
Yeah, but by then she was governor. She wasn't in Wasilla
Oh, she could
anymore.
have been anywhere.
She was in the capital by then. She was in the governor's mansion.
Oh.
In Anchorage?
I don't know the capital of Alaska.
Juneau.
No, I don't.
No, she doesn't.
Oh.
What I just said.
Okay, we can take a victory lap on that one. All right, what else about Canada, Tony? Tony.
Wow, we've tickled Tony. Tony, I need a whole pink. You just simply tickled pink.
Absolutely paralyzed.
Tony, I want to thank you, by the way, for knowing these Canadian facts, of course, but also for, again, wearing your Greek peplos tonight.
You're welcome.
Which,
It's
You're a big
very
fan of the
cozy.
Tom Hanks
Very
will
cozy.
only come on the podcast if Tony wears her
Traditional Greek
traditional Greek peplos, and if
And
we
even
have
then, he's
petty
never coming
force.
on the podcast.
That's not true. You have to wear your Argyle sweater
Yeah.
vest.
And I
Adam.
will, but like the thing is that he keeps adding insane demands. And they're not even that, I should say he keeps adding mundane demands, but very specific and weird
He wants
demands.
pettiforce.
He wants pettiforce.
He does not want me to wear my ruby sateen dress,
He
and
doesn't want Mrs. Culper
I
to wear
must
her
wear
ruby
my
sateen.
ruby sateen dress. I will not truckle to Tom Hanks.
Well, that's good. I don't think you're ever going to have to truckle to him because I think his appearance is a fiction.
It's
I think
not a fiction, Adam. He simply will not come if I'm wearing my ruby sateen
think
dress, which is my
every
favorite
week-
dress to wear. The captain loved. How do you like my ruby sateen dress?
I think it's lovely, Mrs. Culpepper.
Thank you very much. That's making up for the cruelty that you have projected onto me.
I didn't mean to project any cruelty. I just forgotten that
You
your husband.
simply reminded me of the death of my husband.
Which, by the way, how does that look when you actually pass away from child-toxism?
Well, it's quite gory.
Oh, it is. Oh, then I'm doubly sorry for bringing it up.
Yes, thank you.
I thought it would be a sort of you just stop breathing kind of thing.
Tony Anita Hull, you're a saint.
Okay, that's on it. Let's get some more Canadian
Yeah,
facts.
All right,
absolutely.
more Canadian
They
facts.
have an apology act.
An apology
and-
act?
Yeah.
You mean
because-
legally you have to apologize in Canada?
No, so they passed it in 2009 because Canadians are nice people and they tend to over apologize. And the reason they passed the act was to ensure that apologies could not be regarded as admissions of guilt or faults for insurance purposes or in a court of law. So just
Because
I
then
say
everybody
sorry.
would be able to sue everybody in
Absolutely.
Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Oh,
see.
sorry.
Because they
No,
just
I'm sorry.
automatically say
No,
they're
sorry.
sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're-
yeah.
sorry all the time.
Yeah.
They're known for being nice.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
nice.
I always apologize. I apologize when something isn't even. I apologize before I think through whether it was my fault or not.
I've done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's because I do improv.
Well, you say the first thing that comes to your head.
Yes.
Which was what?
The apartment.
Oh,
The
Let's move on.
apartment. The apartment.
More facts.
Canada's lowest recorded temperature is as cold as Mars. It got to negative 81.4 degrees Fahrenheit in the small village of Snag, Yukon on February 3rd, 1947. And that's roughly the same temperature as the surface of Mars.
Yes. But my guess is that in Snag, Yukon, you get cable.
Oh, good point.
Probably,
Right,
which
absolutely.
makes it much better
not Hulu. That's
than
right.
Mars.
No,
You
absolutely.
get cable. That's just my guess. And that was in February of 1947. I
47.
didn't even know they had thermometers back then.
You knew they had thermometers in
In
1940.
1947, I didn't know that.
Oh.
When did you think the thermometer was invented?
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it, but
Okay,
certainly,
that's fair.
I thought maybe around my birth.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
That
it's
I-
a girl, and we have to know how
Yeah.
hot she
She
is.
seems like a hot girl.
Yeah.
That's what they said when I was born.
Right.
She seems hot.
We just have no way of measuring it.
The doctor said, let's get some mercury and put it in a glass thing.
And then we'll calibrate it. We'll calibrate it by first boiling some water and then freezing some water. We'll arbitrarily mark those degrees on the
that how they-
mercury tube.
Is that how they did it?
Well, that's how you. Well, that's how the centigrade system, the Celsius system is. 0 degrees is where water freezes, and 100 degrees is where water boils.
You don't have to tell me that.
I don't, but I chose to.
I knew that.
What's it in Fahrenheit?
I think it's 212 in Fahrenheit, and 32 degrees
32,
is the freezing
yeah.
point, which is it's a stupid system.
Yeah.
Well, this has been
Wait,
Thermometer
so-
Corner with
okay.
Adam Felber. Let's move. Tony, do you want
I'd
to
like to
tell
have
us?
Thermometer
No.
Corner with Adam Felber, a regular section of our
Yes.
show.
Yeah,
I
that's-
really
that
would.
would be a great
Thermometer.
segment.
So, it's a village of Snag, Yukon.
Snag.
Do we have
All right.
anything else on the hot sheet?
It was
about
February
Canada?
3rd,
No.
1947.
Yeah.
So if you were
It's very
thinking
cold
about
day.
going to Snag, Yukon, don't go
In
in
1947.
February.
February 3rd,
3rd,
1947, because it's
1947.
really fucking cold that day.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's
What
what I
else
would do.
about Canada. There are 10 provinces.
I didn't know that.
There you go.
Are they like states?
They are
Yeah.
like states, yeah.
But they're super big, most of them.
Yeah.
So
But they
there
don't
are
have that
10
many
of them.
people in each one, right?
No.
Because as you get up north, because it's
gets-
shit like negative 81.4 Fahrenheit, so people don't populate that area.
There's
as
not a
much.
lot of people.
You know,
No.
my
Polar bears.
guess is we got no listeners in Snag Yukon. That's my
No,
guess.
we'll have to do some research on that.
Hey, if you're a listener in Snag Yukon, just write into us. That's a nobody listens to Paula Poundstone at gmail.com. Gmail is a internet thing.
Yeah, they probably can't because
They
they're
probably
freezing their
don't.
asses off. Their hands are frozen.
Yeah,
they
we'll
can't
probably
even,
get an email that says brrr.
They can't type. They can't type in that kind of cold.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
And they're wearing mittens.
That's why nobody writes to us from Mars. Can't do it. It's negative 81.4 Fahrenheit.
That's one of the reasons. Well, Tony Anita Hull, thank you
Thank
for this
you.
Canada upgrade.
Yeah.
Around the world,
Tony
Tony
Anita
Hull.
Thank
Da
you.
da 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 da.
All right. Now, Paula, you have been struggling to find a short, succinct way to describe our podcast.
Ugh, I really have. I am not good at it at all.
Yeah.
You know, when I do like a radio interview or something.
I've heard you do one.
Yeah, they'll say like, "Oh, so you have a podcast?" And I go, "Yeah, I do." And they go, "It's called Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone." And I go, "Yeah, it is." And then they go, "Well, huh?" And I go, "Well, it's a podcast and it's a comedy podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, you learn some stuff, but it's me and my partner Adam Felber." And then I go, "Well, not partners like that, but me and my partner Adam Felber, and
this
we
is
have
exactly
on people
what-
who have information to share."
Yeah.
And sometimes Tony Anita Hull explains about Canada. And, there's 6 provinces and they're like states.
Now you're
it devolves.
you're a very eloquent woman, and yet when you try to describe our podcast, you become sort of a fumfering teenager.
I do. I become a fumfering teenager when I try to describe our podcast.
What we've done is we've asked our listeners to send us their brief descriptions of Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone.
Yes, please.
And we've received some great ones. Let's share some today. Here's how Dominic from Tucson describes our show.
It's not Tucson.
Tucson.
Thank you.
A meandering, chaotic trip down the rabbit hole that is Paula Poundstone's mind. Seemingly pointless, but oddly satisfying, much like life itself.
That is very beautiful, Dominic. Thank
it's
you.
a piece of poetry. It's not the kind of thing that you could say on a radio show.
Oh, let me try it. Go ahead. Say it to me.
So Paula, tell me about your podcast.
Well, it's a meandering, chaotic trip down the rabbit hole that is my mind. Seemingly pointless, but oddly satisfying, much like life itself.
Well, I stand corrected.
Yeah, I can do it pretty good. Adam, Sonia Buckley had this one. It's like car talk without the car talk. Also, Adam Felber is on every show. Boy, that is a good point.
No, it isn't.
That is a
I
fantastic.
can't believe we're still doing this. Here we are in the year 2020, and we're still doing that 2019 thing where the only thing listeners can think to say about me on the show is that I'm on it all the time.
It's a high praise, Adam. High
It is-
praise.
it's not-
It is.
it's
And
barely
in fact,
praise.
Didn't that come from somebody's theme song?
Yes.
I can't think of this.
Somebody
awful.
somebody
What's
called
his name?
Howard Starrett.
Howard
Howard
Starr
Starr,
called
yes.
you a genius in his song,
Yeah,
and then
he's great.
tacked down at the
He's
end,
great.
and Adam Felber's in every show.
Yeah, I love Howard.
Okay.
And he came to see me in Annapolis, Maryland, not too long ago. And thank you, Howard. And he also brought me a beautiful hat and scarf, and he brought Adam a beautiful
I
hat
wear that hat and scarf. It's really nice. So thank you for that, Howard. Now, you have another one there, Paula. You want to
I
read
do.
it?
Connor Johnnon wrote a cacophony of crazy characters and charades that push Adam Felber to pull out hair he no longer has.
I like that.
Yeah. I think it's
At
really
least I'm
true.
doing something other than just showing up in this particular description.
by the way, and then he says, and he's on every show.
He doesn't.
He does.
No, it doesn't say that
Okay,
there.
what did Bob Barbato say?
Well, Barb Barbato describes our podcast like this. In outre badinage delivered viva voce by genius Poundstone and ever-present Felber, with crinkling but no truckling.
Wow, that is a fabulous one.
Wow, that is really good. And
Uses-
Bob, you managed to get that thrown elbow at me
He uses,
unexpectedly at the end
He
there.
uses a lot of our vocabulary
He
words.
uses a lot of
Thank you, Bob.
vocabulary
'Cause
words and
he's
some of our
proud-
favorite tropes and least favorite tropes.
This week's word is magniloquent. Apparently, he's
No,
been, he's been
continue the song
using
from
them.
there, please, Paula.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, that's helping you remember what magniloquent means.
It is magniloquent. Sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you have a show description, email it to us at nobodylistens to paulapoundstone@gmail.com. And speaking of hotel soap, Paula, You're going to be on the road. Where are you going to be performing?
You know, I hate promoting myself. It's
know.
the one part of
I
my
know.
job I really dislike.
So here in 2020, we're not going to do that anymore. Let's move on to our
I'm going to
next...
be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, February 1st at the Pabst Theater, and I'll be in Johnson, Vermont on February 7th at the Dibden Center for the Arts, Northern Vermont University.
All right. Well, you're going to be very busy.
Wasn't easy to say that.
No,
I didn't
but
want to
you
do it.
said it. And
but there
I want to
was.
mention that Paula will have Paula Poundstone's Pussy Pillows available for sale at those events.
Adam Felber.
Oh,
It is
no.
French Trump.
Oh, if I had a least favorite
It's so good.
hand puppet
Adam
that shows up on our
Felber, the
show.
welder.
Felber the welder. Is that your insult for me,
It is.
Mr. President?
It
French
is. Adam
Trump?
Felber, the welder.
Well, welcome to the show, French Trump.
Thank you very much. I'm French Trump.
I don't even think welder.
Impeachment is a dirty word to me.
Impeachment is a dirty word.
Impeachment. I cannot be briefed right now because I must use Twitter.
Well, I wasn't going to try to brief you anyway.
Twitter.
Oh,
Melania, come in here.
wait, did you just call Melania?
Melania, come in here.
Why are you calling your wife?
She's my wife, Adam Felber. I have carnal needs. Melania, come in here and
You have caramel needs?
carnal needs. Melania, come in here and fulfill my carnal needs.
Caramel needs.
Not caramel, you fool. Not
Oh, carnal
caramel.
needs.
Carnal needs.
I got it. Okay.
Melania, come in. I'm in the blue room.
Uh-oh. That's
We
just...
can do blue things in the blue room.
That is repulsive, French Trump.
It was repulsive with caramel, yes, but not my carnal needs are normal for a man, and I'm a man, and I have big hands, and you know what that means.
What does it mean in a hand puppet?
I have big hands.
That's exactly what I thought it was.
Big
Okay.
hands means big hands. What does it mean to you? You know what I want to do?
What do you want to do, French Trump?
I want to interview the whistleblower.
The whistleblower.
The whistleblower. You know I got less rights than the witches.
The witches?
The witches who are hung in Salem, Massachusetts. A witch trial. I had less rights than the witch trials.
They had no rights, and they were burned to death at the stake, many of them.
Well,
Or-
that's
or
happening to
drowned.
me very slowly.
And there's no such thing as slow.
Look here at the charred part of my finger.
Well, it is a little smudgy at one end. Is that you?
That's I'm slowly being burned.
It looks like you just wrote messily with a Sharpie.
I was making a map.
A map. What were you making a map of, French
I
Trump?
was making a map of the next storm.
The next storm.
The next storm.
The next storm.
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 To come through the United States. It's going to hit many states.
Storm.
Oui.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to hit many states that we need to protect.
Which? Oh, I see what
It's
you're
going
doing.
to hit Alabama.
You were
It's going
altering
to
a
hit
map.
Pennsylvania. It's going to hit Wisconsin.
Is it really?
Oui.
It doesn't sound like
It
that,
will
sure.
not hit Massachusetts. It will not hit California.
Did you come here for any reason, French Trump?
I'm sorry.
On our show just now. Why? What was the meaning of this visit?
I wanted to talk to you, Adam Felber, the welder.
The welder. Now, if you want to talk to me, why insult me at the same time?
Adam Felber, the welder.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Mr.
Oh,
President.
good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Au
Vote for
revoir.
me. Vote for me.
I won't.
The impeachment is a dirty word. I'm the best president there's ever been.
The best president?
President there's ever been.
All right, French Trump, everybody.
All
Well,
right.
before I was interrupted, I was saying that if you want to buy a Poundstone Pussy Pillow,
People should.
you should find a complete list of Paula's performances, which is the only place we're currently selling them.
That's right.
And you can find that at paulapoundstone.com. Now, and someday, really soon, we'll be selling those pussy pillows at paulapoundstone.com.
We certainly hope so.
Our technical people are working around the clock and have been for
we've
months.
Absolutely.
So that's gonna
but,
happen.
I'm thinking of a promotion where people buy a Poundstone pussy pillow and I snowplow their yard.
I feel like you misunderstood some of our guest messages about how to build a small
I
business.
don't think so. I'm
All
gonna be
right,
rich.
We'll be back after this.
On this day in unremarkable history, Wilt Chamberlain said, "My dick is actually tired. I didn't even know that could happen."
Well, welcome back, all you nobodies. Wow. I know we don't tend to discuss the day in unremarkable history, but gee whiz, Paula. All right. All right, Paula, do you have any messages this week for people out there who might be listening to nobody listens to Paula Poundstone and
I
just
do,
ran off
Adam.
the road?
I do, Adam.
Maybe give him AAA's number or something?
Adam, because I know I speak for both of us when I say that we love doing this podcast.
We
And
do.
because I know that the only way we can continue to make it is to reach more and more listeners. And because I know that the best way to do that is by word of mouth, each listener telling their friends and loved ones how much they enjoy listening to Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone, the comedy podcast. And because I know that can be an awkward conversation, I have written some simple sample dialogue to Zamboni that rink.
Okay, this is why I'm kind of sad that Michael left, because I think this is going to be a pretty good example of a business model that isn't really working.
Oh, no. The simple dialogue has been the life's blood of growing the audience.
Has it, though?
Yeah, try this.
Okay.
Listener, congratulations on your new job writing for Pixar. Listener's friend, thanks. Listener, what are you doing with that rope and those scissors? Listener's friend, look over my head. See that anvil tied to this rope? I'm going to cut the rope right here, and that anvil is going to fall on my head and kill me.
Jesus Christ.
Listener, don't do that. What are you going to do that for? You've wanted this Pixar job since the company existed. Pixar and Disney are the gold standard of animated filmmaking. What on earth has happened to you? Listener's friend, you're right. I've wanted this job for years. I finally got the job, and everything has been animated already. Listener, no, it hasn't. Listener's friend, they did bugs, they did toys, they did fish. Hell, they did a spin-off of fish. Listener, how about cars? Oh, yeah. Still, listener's friend, they've done skeletons, they've done monsters. Jesus, they animated emotions. What else is there? Listener, what about dishes and furniture? Listener's friend, Beauty and the Beast, animated, real people, and a Broadway play. Listener, I see what you're saying. What's that? Listener's friend, it's a big poster of a car tunnel. I want you to hold it in front of a solid wall where a road runs out when I'm driving in that direction and I'm not expecting it.
God damn it.
Listener, I'm not going to do that. Let's just think for a minute. What about you could animate, what about medical devices that stage a rebellion against unnecessary surgeries? Or houses that just up and leave rather than support gentrification? Or cleats that revolt against a sport that causes brain damage and just run in the other direction when a player tries to make a tackle? Listener's friend, shh, what if somebody else hears and steals these ideas? I'm not sure they're exactly right, but I give you credit for thinking outside the box. How do you do it? I just feel hopeless.
This is simple sample dialogue.
Listener, I've never told you this before because it felt awkward. See, Adam? But I listen to Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone, the comedy podcast, and I laugh, and I even learn something sometimes. Paula has a wonderful vocabulary song that has really helped. Words like sesquipedalian stick in my head. Anyway, I just feel more creative, more open to possibilities as a result. Listener's friend, wow, I'm going to listen to Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone, the comedy podcast, too. See, Adam?
Wow, Paula. That's a great simple sample dialogue. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people and gain us a bunch of listeners when they use that dialogue
Yeah.
where appropriate.
Yeah. all of you people that use that dialogue successfully, could you get in touch with us? Thank you.
Yeah. You know what? Write in. Let us know how well that specific, simple sample dialogue fit into your life when you were finally hired by Pixar and then tried to kill yourself because all the good animated ideas had been done, and your friend comes in and tells you about Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone. When that happens to you, listeners, all of you, please take the time to write into us and let us know.
Absolutely. And there's going to be a lot, so don't expect us to respond right away.
We can't reply to every single one of you who gets hired by Pixar, attempts suicide, and then is exposed to our podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two of you.
It's going to be like a waterfall. It's going to be it's going to be a lot of them. A lot of them. I'm excited about it.
Me too. All right, nobodies. Remember again, our email address is nobodylistensToPaulaPoundstone@gmail.com.
And you can find me and Adam on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can buy my remarkably soft tri-polyblend t-shirt with the self-portrait on the left breast and a memorable quote on the back at paulapoundstone.com.
That is our show. Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone is hosted by Paula Poundstone and yours truly, Adam Felber. Produced by Paula Poundstone, Adam Felber, Bonnie Burns, Ken Lezebnik, and Tony Anita Hull. Technical direction by Ray Horseman and mixing by Michael Hoagie. Special thanks to tonight's house band, Kelly Phelan. You were great, man. Really appreciate you. And thanks to our guest, Michael Chasalow. Security muscle was not provided by Tyler, the Studio City Behemoth Burke. He's not here tonight. It was Tony Anita Hulk.
Woo!
Transcription services for the show provided by Transcribe Me. For your special Paula Poundstone discount, use code Paula Poundstone when placing your order at transcribeme.com.
That's our show for tonight. Won't somebody please listen to me?
Wilt Chamberlain.
He had a lot of. He said in his autobiography that he had sex with a lot of women.
I think he estimated something like 10,000.
It was like 10,000.
Yeah.
And apparently, over time, it can tire the penis.
Huh.
He didn't know that. I didn't know that until.
Because you found that quote.
Yeah, I found that quote on. It was not remarkable history.
No,
It was on
you'd
this
expect
day.
it.
On this day in unremarkable history. Yeah, didn't even know that could happen.
Starburns Audio.
A podcast network.